Assalamualaikum all of you. So today we are going to start with the second session of the past papers for AS level, and today we will be doing with the paper two. So it's for 961821 October November 23. Time allowed for this paper is 2 hours. Somewhat the instructions are same. Uh, instructions are information is same as well. So let's start with the first question. And before starting with the first question, it says refer to the index. Sorry, refer to the insert for the list of the pseudocode functions and operators. So most likely you guys are aware of the functions. Like mostly you'll be utilizing the mid function, left function, right function. So I'm not going over there, and we can directly start with the paper. So now they are saying the following pseudocode represents part of the algorithm for a program. Now it says case of this value. So it's a switch case program. It says case of this value. So if it's less than 30, so level will be allowed, level will be, sorry, given with the value 30. And check will be 1 if it's less than 20. So it's very low. And then this value is divided by 2. So that will be going to check. If it's between 30 to 40, so it's medium. And the check will be have the value, this value divided by 3. Data, this value will be this value plus 1. And then if it's greater than 40, so it will be level high. So now they are saying complete the table by writing the answers for each row. Okay, now the value assigned to the level when this value is 40. Okay, now if it's 40, so obviously looking forward for the conditions, it will be for the medium. So we will be writing over here medium. Medium and in double inverted commas as it says string. The value assigned to check when this value is 36. So 36 lies in between 30 to 40 and it's divided by 3. So if 36 is divided by 3, so it will be having a value of 12. The value assigned to level when this value is 18. Okay, so less than 30 and less than 20. According to the journal view, we can say it should be less than 20 and it should be having a very low. But no, it will be having a low. Why it will be having a low? The reason behind is it says less than 30. So any value less than 30 will be coming into this. So it doesn't say that less than 30 and greater than 20. If it said that, then we could say that the 18 will be for the very low. So now it is less than 30, so it will be a low over here. The number of the elements in the array data that may be incremented. So how many elements can be incremented overall? So it can be 11 elements that can be incremented over here and all. Coming to the part B, now they are saying the pseudocode contains 4 assignments to the variable level. One of these assignments will never be performed. Okay, now they are saying which will not be performed. Let's see. Identify this assignment, explain why this is the case. Okay, so as we just discussed, as we put 18 over here, so less than 20 will never be performed because less than 30 covers all the regions that are even less than 20. So less than 20 is the part that will never be performed. So we can say identify the assignment and explain why this is the case. So as I just told you, level assigning with the value very low. You can write it down. This assignment will never be performed as assignment earlier to that. Earlier to
सर कौन सा नोट करवा रहे हैं आपके?
it's 9618 2023 October November. Perform an assignment earlier to this assignment. And it covers all the values less than 30. So that's the reason that less than 20 will never perform because less than 30 is performing all the things that should be covered in less than 20 as well. Okay. Now they're saying the following line is added immediately before the end case. That's an otherwise. Okay. Now they are saying otherwise level will be assigned with the value undefined. State why this assignment is never performed. Again, the reason is less than 30, we have covered all the values that contain with the negative values as well. 30 to 40 we have covered, and greater than 40 again goes to the infinity. So this is the reason that it is covering all the possible aspects or all the possible values that can be addressed. So this is the reason that this will never be performed. So it's of 1 marks. So we can say all possible values are covered with the given cases. Okay, now coming towards the part D. Now what does the part D says? It says give the appropriate data types for the variables this value, check, and level. So coming towards this value, so in this value we are taking the value, so it could be the integer. Okay. Other one was the check. Now what was the values given to the check? So the values given to the check are something. You may say it was given with a 1, then this value again. So but it could have the real part. Why it could have the real part? The reason behind is we can take it as integer as well, but it would be better to have it as the real. The reason behind is that user can input any of the value. So if this value is integer, sorry, it will be in the block letters. And check is having a division function, like it's divided by 2 is divided by 3, so it could have the point values as well. So that's the reason that we will be placing up a real over here. Coming to the third part, that's level. Now level was having low, it was having very low, it was having medium as well, so obviously it will be a string. So we can write down string over here. Question number 2, part A. What does it say? An algorithm is expressed as follows. Now what is the algorithm that is stating over here? Let's see. Input 100 numbers one at a time. We need to input 100 numbers, but one at a time. That means the loop is gonna be performed. Keep a total of all numbers input that have a value between 30 and 70 inclusive. That means a range check or the validation check is applied over here. If the values are in between the 30 and 70 inclusive, that means 30 and 70 can also be the part of this validation. So what you need to do, you need to keep a total. Okay, you need to find out the total of all those values. That means the sum, and output this total after the last number has been input. That means after the 100 values, whatever the sum is over there of the values that are in between 30 and 70 inclusive, you need to output the sum of them. Outline using stepwise refinement the 5 steps for this algorithm, which could be used to produce the pseudocode. You do not use the pseudocode statements in your answer. Okay, we do not need to go towards the pseudocode statements. We just need to do the stepwise refinement. That is, we need to write it in the high level language. That means in our language. Okay, so first of all, we should initialize the total as 0. So we can write set the variable total to 0. What could be the other thing? We should check it out. Before the checking out, we should input the number. Input a number. Apply validation. Validation over an input number. What could be the third step? If validated, sum the number. And output at end. And the fifth step would be repeat the loop. How many steps? Okay, for 100 times. Overall, it was 100. Yeah, okay. Repeat the loop for 100 times. Overall for 100 times, okay? Okay, now coming towards part B. Sequence is one programming construct. Identify two other programming constructs that will be required when the algorithm is converted into the pseudocode. So I just told you guys when we were having the basics of the paper two. So I just told you that a program can be executed in three manners, or there are three constructs over there. What are those three constructs? Number one, it is in the sequential, then it's the iteration, and then it's the selection. So they have informed us about the sequence part. The what could be the other constructs? So iterative, or you may say iteration, or in other words, you can write it down looping as well. Do not use this type of the thing. Just to explain you guys, I'm just writing it down. And the other one could be the selection part. So this is the two constructs that we can use. Okay, now question number three. What does the question number three says? A diagram represents an abstract data type, ADT. The operation of this stack may be summarized as follows. The top of the stack pointer points to the last item added to the stack because it's a stack, so it's a last and first out. Okay. The bottom of the stack pointer points to the first item of the stack. So it's the first item, it's the last item that was added. Now they are saying the stack is implemented using two variables in a 1D array of 8 elements as shown over here. The variables are used to reference individual elements of the array in such a way that point number one, the array is filled from the lowest index element towards the highest because it's a stack. So it will be filled from the lower. That means starting from the first location to the eighth location. Second point, they are saying all the elements of the arrays are available for the stack. These are the elements, they are available for the stack. Complete the diagram to represent the state of the stack as shown above. Now, how are you going to place those things over here? So you just need to pick those things over here from this point till this point. You need to pick those up and you need to put them in the stack. So the bottom one will be at the bottom, obviously. So it was D2, D5, D4, D3. Write it down over here. D2, D5, D4, D3, and the last one was, I think so, yeah, it's T1. So we can just keep it over here. Now they are saying variable top of the stack. So what will be top of the stack? It will be the fifth location that is at the top of the stack, and bottom of the stack is at number one. So this is how an ADT stack is performed. Okay, now over here, what they are doing over here, they are saying a function push will add a value onto the stack by manipulating the array and variables in part A. Okay, now you need to make up a function push. Push means that you are inserting anything into the um, stack. So that is known as the push. And when you're taking out anything out of the stack, so that's a pop. So over here, we are creating a push function. So they say a function push will add a value onto the stack by manipulating the array and variables in part A. Before addition, before adding a value onto the stack, the algorithm will check the space is available. So you need to check. Okay, we do have a question. Yeah, bottom was D2 in the previous question. Fine. Okay, sorry, coming back to the topic. Before adding a value onto the stack, you need to check it out whether the space is available or not. Is the stack full or not? Okay. If the value is added to the stack, the function will return true. That means if there is available and you can add the value, so it will be returning the true. Otherwise, the function will be returning false. So that means the return is boolean over here. The algorithm is expressed in 5 steps. Complete the steps. Okay, now they are saying if dash then return false. So when are you going to return false? It says you need to return false if the space is not available over there. So that means if top of a stack was our variable top of a stack is equals to 8, then it will be returning false. Otherwise, that means it's a space over there. Otherwise, you need to increment the top of stack. That means an element has been added into the stack. Use top of the top of index. Use top of stack as an index to the array. Index means that you are just taking out the look that okay, now at 5 it's the top of the index, at 6 it's the top of the index, at 7 it's the top of the index. Then they are saying set the element at this index to the dash being added, to the data being added. You may say the data being added. So set the element at this index to the data being added. And yeah, now if it is added, so that means we are returning true over here. So this is how a push function is going to perform or is going to execute over here. Coming to question number 4. What does the question number 4 says? It says a global array is declared in the pseudocode as follows. We do have a global array, and that is as follows. That says declared data array. There is an array of 1 till 150. That means the range has been given to us of a string data type. A function too many will. Now what it is going to do? Part number A. Sorry, point number 1. Take two parameters. What are those parameters that could be? It could be a string, the search string, that will be searching for the string, an integer that will be giving with the maximum value. Point number 2 says count the number of the strings in the array that exactly matches the search string. Now that means you need to have the string as the parameter, you need to have the maximum value as the parameter, and then you need to find it out that how many of the strings in the array are exactly matching your search part, okay, or your string basically. So return true if the count is greater than the maximum value. That means, for example, maximum you place 2 and your count or your searches were 3 over there. So you need to return true. Otherwise, you need to return a false. That means the function is over here. So it should be returning a boolean because it's again a true and a false. So what we need to do over here, we need to do write a pseudocode for the function too many. Okay, now we need to write a function for the too many. How are we going to do that? So first of all, we will be utilizing the keyword function over here. Keywords are always in capital. Make sure for that. Function and too many will be taking as it is given over here. Two and then a many. Just after that, we can have two parameters. So we can have a parameter of a search over here. It will be a string data type. And the other thing what we could have over here, we could have a maximum because it says maximum value. Max, it could be in the integer data type. So these are the two parameters that are passed on. Returns, because it's a function. Now what it is going to return, so we need to write the data type. It's a boolean because it will be returning either true or it will be returning either false over here. So we have created the function over here. That means, sorry, we have declared the function over here, not created. We will be creating. Now we need to have few more declarations. I will be taking out as the count. And I will be taking out as the count. And the other one, what I can take over here is, so count, I can give the initial value count because it is the number of the times the number is coming, okay? And the other one or the search has been done. And the other one could be index, and both of them are having a data type of an integer. Just after that, the declaration, make sure I make a bit of the indentation over here, okay? Okay, after that, we need to execute the loop. Why we need to execute the loop? The reason is that it's from 1 till 150. So we will be executing the loop over here. So for now index, index will be from because it was from 1 till 150. So it will be assigned with the value 1 to 150. Okay. Now in the index, we need to check it out whether it is matching. Sorry, within the loop, it is matching. We need to check it out whether it is matching with the string or not. So we will be saying if data index. Now, what do you mean by the data index? Data was the name of the array over here. If data index is going to match with the search, because search is a parameter that we just utilized over here. So if that is so, then what is happening? So in the if condition, if it is doing so, count will be always obviously incremented by 1. So we will be saying count is assigned with the value count plus 1. And finally, we could have an and if over here, and next, make sure for the indentation. Next index. Okay, as we are done till over here, so we have just counted it. Now we need to check it out as well whether the count is greater than max or not. So how are we going to check that out? So we only saying if count greater than max. Max was the other parameter that we have just passed over here. If count is greater than max, so what is going to happen? We will be returning true. True was in capital, make sure for that. And if not, that means else. Else return false as it was set to us over here. Return true if the count is greater than the maximum and otherwise return false. So we just did that as well. So we will be having an end if over here. And that was the last part of this function. So and if and finally and function. Make sure for the indentation. So till here, we are done with the first phase of this passive. Inshallah, further we will be continuing in the next phase of this passive. Thank you so much, guys.